Now to Westminster for Today in Parliament.
Order, order.
An inquiry into why contaminated blood imported from overseas was administered to NHS patients was formally launched today. According to a parliamentary report, around 7,500 people were infected with HIV or hepatitis C in the 1970s and 80s. The Cabinet Office Minister, David Lidington, promised that evidence given to the inquiry would be public, transparent and subject to scrutiny.
Many thousands of people from across the United Kingdom have been affected by this terrible tragedy. And sadly, a number of people affected have died since the inquiry was announced.
He said it was extremely important that the inquiry completed its work speedily. The first stage of the inquiry, which is being led by Sir Brian Langstaff, includes taking witness statements from people who've been affected. The first hearings will take place in September. Labour's Chris Matheson welcomed the start of the inquiry and hoped it would crack on with its work.
The unpleasant and inconvenient truth is that the longer the delays, the longer the grass into which this matter has been kicked, the fewer victims will be around to see justice.
The inquiry's terms of reference include the government's response, the treatment of victims and families, and whether or not there was a cover-up. The SNP's Dr Philippa Whitford called it the worst tragedy and scandal in the 70-year history of the NHS.
By the number of people infected, the ignoring of the evidence and the cover-ups that we hope light will be brought to bear. It is, as the Chancellor said, almost a year since the inquiry was announced, and during that time, sadly, 90 people have died in England, Scotland and Wales, who will therefore not get the answers they had hoped for.
The Labour MP Diana Johnson has been at the forefront of the campaign to seek justice for the victims of the blood scandal. She said the disaster had already claimed the lives of 2,500 people.
Far greater than if you add up all the other disasters from the 1970s, starting with the Moorgate tube disaster, running right through to Grenfell just last year. So more than all of those added up together. And I want to pay tribute to all those who fought long, over many years, to get to this point. Those who were infected and those who were affected.
And she wondered if the government's estimated timescale of 2 years for the inquiry was realistic. The Minister, Mr Lidington, replied that it was very difficult to be more precise, as it depended on where the evidence took the inquiry team.